It's episode 57 of the Improv London podcast. I'm your host, Stuart Moses. And this week's guest is Madeleine Hunter.
Hello! Hi, Stuart Moses.
Hello, Madeleine Hunter. How are you?
I'm quite well.
Let's talk. Let's be really specific here, and let's talk about Duck Duck Goose.
Ooh, I know there.
You're one of the head people at Duck Duck Goose.
I'm one of the. There are now 8 of us.
Yes.
Although improv journeyman Mark Tyndall currently on hiatus. So
it's good that he's referred to by his correct.
That is his full name. That's how he's referred to at all times.
I mean, he's on a journey at the moment. Well,
he is. He's journeying in improv in the United States.
Come back, Mark. I mean, I don't know, as long as you're happy. We just want you to be happy. That's all.
Yes, we just want you to be happy, Mark.
I mean, it'd be nice if you were happy.
Improv journeyman Mark Tyndall.
It'd be nice if you were happy near us, but ultimately it's your happiness that we're...
I suppose, yes. I suppose the closeness to us comes second.
Which wouldn't want to be selfish.
He is posting a lot on Facebook, so I still feel like I'm still close to him that way. He has some professional shots of himself done.
Yeah, no, they're very nice, aren't they?
Yeah. It's very classy.
Yeah, I was like...
Plus, he was wearing a tie pin that we bought him as a leaving gift, so I was like,
nice.
oh, that's nice. It's nice that he took that with him.
Yeah. So you're one of the 8 people that run Duck Duck Goose. So for those... Imagine if people don't know what Duck Duck Goose is.
I don't know who these people are because they were very famous, apparently. Yes, it is weekly, every week apart from 1 month in August. We're not doing it, but yes, every week on every Monday at the Effra Social in Brixton. It is an improv show and jam, and the jam is probably the thing people come for, but the show is good too. We have 3 different acts, plus we have audience jams. And everyone loves it, and it's fun, and we're nice.
That is true. I don't love jams.
I mean, no one loves being in a jam. I've actually found this to be true, because I feel like I'm getting a lot better at being in jams when I am running them.
Yes.
And being a jam captain. When I go to someone else's, it's like, I hate this.
I have persevered with jams, and now I've got... I used to really, really hate them, and then I got to the stage where I mildly hated them, and now I'm like, oh. But if you're a jam captain, what are you trying to do there that's different from just being in a jam?
A lot, because a lot of it is making sure that everyone who is not a jam captain gets into the jam and hopefully looks good and isn't left in a scene where it's like they are clearly struggling and clearly hate life and being able to go in and walk on and help that out, as well as being like, this person's not been on, I've got to make sure, I've got to bring them on into a scene, which means I have to initiate a lot of scenes because it's part of my job. Whereas if I was in someone else's jam, I would never initiate a scene.
Right, okay. Why would you not initiate a scene?
Because I hate doing it.
Wow.
But again, like I was saying, it's like, with Duck Duck Goose, it's like, I feel I'm getting a lot better at that, of just walking out and going, well, I'll just come in, fairly recently, the suggestion was onomatopoeia. And I was like, I know what that is, but I can't remember. So I walked in and I was like, I assume it's some kind of animal, and just initiated a scene in a zoo.
Yeah, nice.
Whereas in someone else's jam, I would never do that.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know what this word means. Someone else will take... Also, I think it's the comfort of being like, I don't have any responsibility here, other people can do stuff. Yeah. Whereas I know at Duck Duck Goose that I have to be, and it's kind of like, because I'm not that experienced actually. I've been doing improv for about 3 weeks. So it's sort of like, I don't feel like I should be the person responsible for other people doing things, many of whom have done more improv than I have, and or to give advice to people who are new. It's like, oh, well, don't worry, here's how you jam. I don't know how to jam. I've been doing improv for 3 hours. It's like...
Jamming's hard, and knowing that you have jam captains at Duck Duck Goose, I have benefited Ed JD in particular. There was one time where so my tactic for jams is get in the first scene.
Yes.
Get in the first scene, because then, even if you don't do anything for the rest of the jam, at least you were in a scene.
Yes!
Because the longer you leave it, the harder it is to do something. And also, there is a chance that if you play a memorable character or something like that, someone else will
bring
you back.
Yes. Also, there is also the thing of like, if you get in the first scene, you don't have that thing of, oh, that first scene was really good. I can't be part of that. I can't be in this now because I can't do anything that I've got no ideas that are that good right now. So it's like, if you get in the first scene, it's like, even if it's a bit rubbish, it's fine because you've done one.
Yeah, and you've given everyone else a platform to work from. So the first scene doesn't have to be that good. It just has to happen.
Yes, but again, as a jam captain, it's like, no, that's not enough. Like, oh, okay, no, I've done a scene. That's not enough. I have to keep watching and keep. You've not been in. I'll bring you in. Or sometimes because the scene is going on not too long, or it's sort of like, I don't think anyone is getting what's going on here.
Right. Yes.
So it's like having to do a walk on to hopefully help that out.
Oh, that's my... when that happens, that is my very favourite walk-on. Because generally, I find that I hate walk-ons. I don't want to see people do it. And when they're doing it, they're doing it because they think...
I've got a much funnier idea.
Or they just think, I want to be in this scene because I'm great, which partly is my own insecurities. But, so yeah, that sort of gift that you're talking about, when you can come on, you can clarify something and you get off the stage and it's just like, oh, that is a beautiful thing to behold.
Yes, that's what I try to do. With, varying levels of success. But again, if I was at, say, the C3 something jam that I go to fairly regularly, I'm like, no, I'll just stand on the sidelines until John Agapew pulls me on. Because he's a very good jam captain. They all are. That's the other thing, because like, say there, all the people who are jam captains are also extremely experienced. Whereas at Duck Goose, not as much. But we are lovely. Like, I mean, some of us are very experienced. Like, Vic is very experienced. Some of us, not so much. Yeah. But we have the same job. So
yeah, I mean, I think the disciplines of being a jam captain are all great habits.
Yes, they are actually. Yes, it's like active listening.
Yes.
Being aware of all the teams at all times.
Yes.
I think you have to be very much like knowing who's been on, and also if someone's been on but then been sort of tagged out very quickly, it's like, they'll have another chance.
Yeah.
So it's not even necessarily about having the best improv, because sometimes you have some really good things that are going on. There's like, but the same people are doing all the stuff, and it's like, we need to get everyone else on, the inexperienced people, which is what like they did for me when I first started going to Duck Goose as well, because I started going there. I joined very quickly. Like there is a thing there with, if you go regularly enough, eventually you will join us. Because we've just added a new person in the last couple of weeks, partly because Improv Journey man Mark Tyndall is away for an indefinite period. So we've added a new host just 2 weeks ago, I think she started. Her name's Alison. She's been a regular jammer for probably longer than I have. But
right.
Well, I don't know if certainly she said the first time she came was like January last year. It's like, oh, I didn't come until April last year. And I was just checking before you arrived. It was my 6th show that they asked me to join.
Wow.
Which was quite early.
That's really good, yeah.
That's not normal. Don't expect that, people listening.
You can't just come along 6 times and then be in charge.
You have to be really amazing all 6 of those times. Or possibly I benefited from being a woman.
A woman?
And it was like, because at that point there was Vic and 6 men. So, and I guess Prabs had just left, so it was Vic and 5 men.
Which sounds like the weirdest fairy story. So what are the other things you're looking out for as a jam captain then?
Let me think. I don't know.
Okay, let me rephrase that in another way.
Yes.
I imagine it's Vic, who I would really like to come on this podcast, and she's sort of and erred and is not sure, but do come on the podcast, Vic. I think you'd have interesting things to say. I imagine it's Vic, but I'm just using my imagination here. Does Vic sit everyone down and say, look, this is what being a jam captain is, this is what we should look out for?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Obviously. Of course it's Vic who does this.
Brilliant. Okay.
She is very organised. She is also, in her own words, bossy.
Right, excellent.
But no, she is. Because also because we are continually trying to make it better, if something doesn't go well, we will, or if something happens that we feel, we will discuss it at length afterwards.
Really?
And yeah, so we have sort of had a couple of times where we've done jams and afterwards been like, okay, everyone, what could we have done? Everyone, what should we maybe have done at this point? You know, and so because sometimes things don't go well, and at some point, also when you're in the middle of it, it gets out of, if it sort of gets away from you at some point, it's like, this has got away from us now, and then people like myself will be on the side going, I'm meant to be running this, I am not even involved anymore. So, so I guess things looking out for is making sure everyone's been on.
Yes.
And had a decent amount of stage time. So, like, if they do come on but get tagged out quickly, then they get another chance. Making sure that people, particularly like new people, look really good. So it's like, for example, in one of my first jams, I think I'd been on the side most of it. I can't remember exactly how it got to this point, but Steph brought me on as God.
Well, yes.
And that was quite good.
Yes.
Turns out I love playing God. And that may actually have been the jam that got me the whole like being asked to join thing. Because I just immediately was like, yes, I am God. Hello! I'm just going to be godly. And so that was, I think that was all I did in the jam. I did that one scene where I was God, but it was the best scene from the jam, according to me, because I was in it. So that kind of thing, like trying to find a way that, so particularly new people and people who maybe be a bit what's the word, like diffident about getting on, look really good so that they don't hate it, and they might come back again. And they might grow in confidence and love improv.
Yes, I think I conquered jams a bit when I gave myself permission to do terrible improv, and not just terrible improv, but possibly the worst improv.
Oh, we've all done the worst improv.
Yeah, I did it at Duck Duck Goose.
That's fine, that's part of what we're for.
And nobody cared. It's like, nobody chucked me out of improv. Nobody said.
So there wasn't a report that was filed afterwards, and you went to another jam and it was like, oh, I'm sorry. We've heard about you, Stuart Moses.
It's not like those pubs that have the scheme where if you get banned from one, you get banned from all of them.
Yes, all the ones in the area have got your thing up,
So that was good. So I'm just interested more about kind of, the behind the scenes stuff.
The admin.
Yeah.
Most of my improv experience is administrative rather than performance. So
I'm genuinely interested in the admin because it's so vital to running nights and groups and things like that. But it's the stuff that people don't tend to talk about. So tell me about the admin.
It's great. I mean, again, like I said, most of my experience is more administrative than performance-based. So so certainly with Duck Duck Goose, we take it in turns. We do 1 week each in alphabetical order to do all of the responding to emails, people who want acts, doing the scheduling, which at the moment we're booking about 6 months in advance.
Wow.
So any new teams forming right now, not ready to perform yet, email us now. By the time you'll come up for your slot, you'll be great. Hopefully, or you'll have split up.
Either way.
We have had that, like teams like we put them on the email that week and been like, and then got him back going, oh, we actually dissolved months ago. Like, oh, thanks for letting us know. That doesn't happen often, but occasionally, like last minute, like but so there's also a lot of it is just keeping in touch with all the people who like our regulars and people who want to be in things, so that it's like if a thing does come up at last minute, we're like, oh well, I know who'd be good for that slot because I said, if anything else comes up in the meantime, we'll keep you in mind, and we actually did do that. So there's a lot of that, responding to emails. We've got a website now and a Facebook event. So a lot of writing 3 separate descriptions for each group because there's the website, the Facebook group, and the weekly email that we do. So also part of it is knowing who all the teams are.
Yes.
Because sometimes like, I've not actually seen them yet, and then someone else will in the team be like, oh, I've seen them, they do this. Like, okay, so how do we describe them snappily without having seen them?
Anything could happen.
Basically, it's improv. They're going to make up some improv.
They might take some suggestions, they might not.
Although if Dan does it, he just does a series of puns on their name, which can work equally as well and is often funnier than going, this team will take a suggestion and then do some scenes based on that, and then maybe some edits in this manner, and hopefully heighten. Probably just funny to have a series of puns, right?
No, I quite like the actual, very literal.
Yes.
There will be 4 of them, and they will come on stage, and they will.
And then it's like, oh, only 3 of them turned up, so we lied.
Oh, do you know what? I was looking forward to seeing them, but now there's only 3 of them. I'm just going.
Or it's like, you get a 10-strong team, and only 5 of them are here. It's like, well, I'm sorry, I was lied to. This is false advertising.
You said there would be 10, there are only 5. I am only half pleased.
Happens a lot. We get angry emails.
Do you get angry emails?
No, not as far as I know. Not many that I'm aware of, or any. I'm sure some people leave hating us. One person I did meet at a different night later on, and he was like, "Well, you said it'd be free, and then at the end you brought out a bucket and asked for money." It's like, but that's voluntary donations, and also it's the end, so you didn't have to put any money in.
Yeah.
That's only happened, again. That was only one person said that to me. And so
Right.
it's like, I mean, we do bring out the bucket at the end and say, if you've enjoyed the night, we have some overheads. Voluntary donation if you want, but this one was like, well, you said it was free. It's like, but did you have a nice time before that? Was the whole thing soured by the end part? I'm so sorry.
Let's
and he's not been back since.
Oh well.
But he was American, so he might have then gone back to America. I don't know if he was living here. I can't remember.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well,
I hope he was deported.
Well, it seems a strange thing to focus on.
But no, we haven't. As far as we don't get many audience complaints that I'm aware of. Maybe they just go to a private email of Vic's, although I'm sure she'd bring them to our attention.
I'm really interested. I'm fascinated to learn that sometimes you analyse how the jam went. Who breaks it down? Is it just?
The last time we had to do one.
So it's not every time. It's just.
No, we do a record after every show. We just do like someone does notes after every show. We take that in turns just to put on our spreadsheet of who the teams were, whether they went down well or brilliantly.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
It's confidential,
I know
classified,
it is.
don't get information.
I know it is,
but this is how I was able to figure out how many shows I'd been to before I was asked to join, because in one of them it says, I asked Maddie, she said yes. Like,
oh, right.
Although apparently at that point Brendan didn't know which one I was. He told me, he was like, yeah, when Vic suggested it, I was like, which one's she? Like, that one who's been here twice. The one who was God.
No, but if there's a hidden Duck Goose spreadsheet with how everyone went down, finally we're going to get close to having a league table of who's the best group.
Oh God, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And I do love Excel spreadsheets, so this could be my role in the whole improv scene. Oh God, finally. I found my place.
So someone plays Duck Goose, they go down very well, they go up to number 1, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what we should do. So most people do play eventually, so in 6 months. So yeah. But we also put on there, what happened in the jams and 2-person scenes, just if anything particularly stood out, or if anything went particularly badly that we need to think about, or even if just the hosting went badly. It was like, yeah, that was a bit weird when Maddie continually tried to touch Dan while he was trying to speak, but that's part of our thing that we do. Well, because he's the most socially awkward. Sorry, Dan, he's not going to listen to this, it's fine. We've just got into a shtick of me harassing him, which obviously, if the genders were reversed, would be very wrong.
Yes,
I acknowledge that, but I'm still going to keep doing it. I'm just redressing the patriarchy a tiny bit. One person,
tiny touch.
Yes,
at a time. But that's really interesting because I just didn't know. You know, I've been along. And, well, this is good.
It seems so chaotic. There's no organisation here.
It seems I will know. Yeah, okay. So artistically, it seems like anything could happen, but it's always felt that it is a smoothly run night, and
thanks.
We always, okay. Well, I mean, we always pretty much start on time, and that's important.
Try
for
that.
Me, and yeah.
There was a show fairly recently, I think, when it was I think we did. Because normally the setup, for people who haven't been, is we do first act, then we have 2-person scenes for the audience, then we do the first jam, then we have a second act, I think, and then we have an interval, then we have a third act, and then a final jam. That was interesting. But there was one recently when I think the second jam, I can't remember if we did the jam first, but I feel like the first act, only went on at 5 to 9. It was like, oh, we meant to finish at 10:15 at the very latest. Yeah. This is our first act going on now. I guess we must have done the jams first. Yeah. But yes. But we do try to start on time. And run to a schedule of some kind.
Yeah, I don't really want much from my improv evening.
I just want to go home on time.
Yeah, I just want to go home.
Yeah, it's like, I was here, I just want to leave now. I've shown my face.
I just want to go home.
My name's gone in a bucket. Let me leave.
Please let me go. I have to stay to the end.
It's like, no, we're holding you prisoner in this room. Because also, once you're in there, it's hard to walk out.
Well, I can sit at the back.
Yeah, that's true.
But
also, like, some people are fine with walking out, but...
no, I have to stay.
Yeah.
If I'm not enjoying it. I'm not specifically talking about Duck Goose here, but
if I've walked into a room, I'm staying.
Well, no, not so much. It's more if people have sat through my performance, then I will sit through theirs.
That's the polite etiquette.
I think, it's only... There's nothing worse than you having, you having performed and then leaving and then there not being anybody for the other.
Yeah, and it's like, there were loads of people here earlier. It turns out they...
I mean, sometimes it's inevitable, but you have to leave. But
some people live a long way away, like you live in Epsom.
That is correct, yes.
Yes.
I have a way to go.
Yes.
Brilliant. So what attracted you to improv in the first place?
I don't know. I've got a lot of reasons that I've given people in the past.
Well, tell me all of those.
I'm not sure which one is official at the moment. One of them, though, probably the most true one, is I'm a master procrastinator.
Right.
And this would have been about a year, just over a year and a half ago. I was in the middle of law school.
Right, okay.
And so obviously I was working full-time and studying part-time in a professional qualification. So I needed something else to take my mind off studying. So obviously a very time-consuming hobby that had nothing to do with law was the best idea. Because I was aware of improv because I listened to a lot of improv podcasts and stuff, and I was aware of a lot of Americans who had sort of done like UCB people, but I didn't know there was any improv at all in this country.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend visiting from Finland, and that was kind of draining my resources a bit because she was obviously on holiday, and it was like, we have to do fun things every night.
How dare you?
I know. And at one point she was sort of talking about seeing some stand-up comedy or something. I was like, I will find some free stand-up comedy and we'll go to that. And then I came across, it was a Hoopla Launchpad.
Oh, right.
It was the Parentheticals. It was their first gig. Brendan, who obviously is also one of Duck Goose. So that was the first improv show I went to was one of his. It also featured, who else? Lady G was on that night.
Right, yes.
Hammer of Zeus project, which is Krabs and Keith Mulder. When are you having Keith Mulder on?
He's already been on.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't had his own episode.
Oh yeah, I've heard those ones, but I'd just like a whole Keith Mulder episode, please.
Yes. You should listen. Have you listened to the Ed and Friends episode?
Oh, I haven't actually.
Listen to the Keith Mulder episode of Ed and Friends.
Oh.
That is hilarious. And actually,
I am basically obsessed with Keith Mulder.
Well,
it's fine, he knows this, so if he does listen to this, it'll be okay.
Who is not?
I know, he's fascinating.
Have you seen him doing the rap thing for the Foxtons? He does You Can't Rap
Oh,
This.
Yes! That's the greatest thing I've seen in years.
That's what it was invented for.
Yes, I was very happy about that. It's like so I assume he does at home on his own anyway. Yeah, he's amazing.
He is amazing, yes.
Yeah, last night, because I don't know if you're aware of the current setup of the C3 Something Sunday show, but they have a show at 6, which is sort of where sort of C3 Something perform, and they have other acts and and the jam, and then they have a second show at 8 o'clock, which is different every week, or they sort of have various things they do. But yesterday was a storytelling one.
Yeah.
The subject was scars. I got a series of fascinating Keith Mulder stories about scars.
Wow, yes, I imagine he has a few scars.
Yeah. You should ask him.
About his scars.
Yeah, just get him on the podcast, ask him about his life. He's amazing.
Yes.
Keith Mulder. How did that come? Oh yeah, so I went to this. Oh yeah, that's right. I went to a Launchpad. He was on, so that's why that hooked me in. I think they opened the show.
I described Hammer of Zeus to Prabs as endearingly shambolic, which I wasn't sure. I meant that with love because I've very much enjoyed that.
I feel that's true of a lot of improv.
Well, yes, but this, much like what you were saying about Keith and the rapping, and you imagine you just did that at home anyway. Yeah. This Hammer of Zeus project was exactly what I imagined that Prabs and Keith just did generally anyway.
Yeah.
So
let's just do it on stage for people.
Let's do it on stage. We would just be doing it anyway.
I feel like I'm like in my actual career, a bit like that, like endearingly shambolic, like Columbo.
All right,
Because
yes.
I work for a law firm. I'm a paralegal. I might be a solicitor one day, and I feel like I'm a bit like I appear outwardly to be terrible at this, and I'm very messy. I have definitely the messiest desk in the office, but it hides a legal mind. Not quite as good as Columbo's, but
Have you watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
I haven't.
No, you should watch that.
Oh, it's a musical comedy.
It's a musical comedy
please.
set in a solicitor's office.
Oh, I didn't know that detail. Oh, I should watch it.
Very good, very entertaining. So you attended this
Oh yes, so I
launch pad.
attended a launch pad, and this was when I was in the middle of law school and looking for a new hobby. And I think Phil Lunn was hosting it, and they get you to talk to the person next to you to make it all friendly, someone you don't know. And I was talking to a man next to me, and he was like, "Oh, have you done any improv yourself?" And I was like, "No, and I never will." He's like, "Oh, you really should. You really enjoy it even more if you understand what they're doing and what's going." And it's like, "Oh, I guess I don't know what they're doing now, but sometimes." But and he was like, "Oh yeah," so he was telling me about Steve Rowe and Hoopla classes, and I was like, "Oh, you should take one." I was like, "Okay, man that I have never met and I've never seen again since." He lived in Cardiff, but he used to live in London.
Oh, right,
I can't remember what his name was.
Okay. Well, if you're listening, do get in touch.
Yes, that man.
That changed your life.
Yes,
For the
thanks.
better.
He brought me
He was
improv.
like an angel.
I'd like to say that really Keith Mulder changed my life, because I probably if he hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, why not do that? And then I guess I was drunk later and was like, I'm going to sign up for an improv class.
I wonder how many. I know Steve doesn't keep these sort of statistics, but it would be interesting to know either the time at which people applied or their blood alcohol.
Yeah, it's like how many tickets were sold at like 3 a.m. and everything everything was in small letters with capitals in the wrong place. And does it tell you how many times they put their card details in before it accepted it?
But then you did actually turn up for the class that you
Yes.
signed up for, which is good, nice work.
Yeah, well, I'd paid for it.
But I don't think everyone does turn up. I don't know.
I did nearly go home, turn around and just go home several times on the way in.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, my first class, I realised recently, my improv journey begins at the same time as the Improv London podcast journey.
Really?
Yes, because obviously your first episode is Steve Rowe, and he's talking about how he's going to be teaching a beginner's class that day.
Yeah.
That was my class, I think. Or it was definitely that week. I can't remember what detail in the thing made me realise this, but that was my class he's talking about he's going to teach later. That was me. Thanks, Steve Rowe.
Yes, I'm hoping to get Steve back on, because I feel we've just scratched the surface of Steve's in that episode. But obviously you went along, you loved it, and then.
Well, I went along and it was like, I'm here now. I'm just going to do this forever.
But the turning up, you should get points for just turning up to the first class, because it's a hard. Okay, so I find turning up for social situations quite hard in general.
Yes.
But especially one where, if you've never done improv before, you don't really know what you're going to be expected to do.
Well, because also when I was going there, it was like I was convinced it would be just full of 23-year-old actors who were just trying to expand their range into improv, and there'd be a bit at the beginning where they demanded to know why you were here, and they'd be like, well, "Who are you and why?"
Sort of justify your existence.
Yeah, kind of. Or just so I was on the way there trying to think of excuses, why am I doing this? I work in law and I need to get better at negotiation, and I feel like thinking on my feet and stuff like that. But that didn't happen at all. In fact, he specifically said, I'm not going to ask you why you're here or make you explain who you are. And then when I got there, it actually was just a lot of normal people. Of varying ages. Also, I thought I was going to be a lot older than everyone else there.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lot older than everyone thinks. Yes. I realised the other day that I am now closer to being 50 than being 20.
Really?
Which just means I might be 35.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. Exactly. No one ever does. I was like, wow, I thought you were really young because you act like a child. And have a youthful face.
That's what I was going to say, the youthful face thing. That's what I was going to say.
No, I'm way older than everyone thinks. But when I got there, it was like, I thought there'd be a lot of 23-year-olds, and actually there were people of varying ages, and I wasn't even the oldest.
Yeah, I found that. That's a really nice thing. But yeah, you can't. But somehow it's hard if you're running a class to communicate that. Like, there's going to be lots of different people.
Yeah, like in the description, like the 100-word description on the website, it didn't say it did say we're open to all, etc.
Yeah,
but it's hard to convey that will actually be what you get when you get there.
Yes, yes. No, I still remember my first Hooper class, and the feeling of like. I'm sort of here now. This was at the Rag Factory, so the Rag Factory was an adventure.
The Rag Factory. One team that I was in that didn't go anywhere because that happens all the time. We did a couple of rehearsals there, like sessions, and it was like, this is a semi-derelict. I mean, I know it's always in a semi-derelict building. But, even the nursery here, it's like, it's an abandoned office building. This seems on game for us.
This is palatial. We're recording in the nursery train shed.
Yes.
Palatial. I mean, I have a lot of affection for the Rag Factory because I had some very formative experiences there, all improv related. But nevertheless, I feel that it made me the person I am today, better or for worse. But it's just sort of
the Rag Factory.
going there and then getting into the class. I think people take it for granted, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, because again, it was like, I think when I was looking up classes, originally I came across the C3 something website, and I wasn't, even though I think it said on there for their drop-ins, everyone welcome.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I need some experience to go to this.
Yeah.
So I went and found something that specifically said, this is a beginner's course for beginners with no experience who've never done improv. So it was like, at least there will be no one who's done any improv.
Yeah, and I'm biased because I started with Hooper courses. And I've told the story, I think possibly even on this podcast, about how I did the beginner's course 3 times.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, so probably.
I'm an avid listener of the podcast.
Or we've had a conversation in real life. I'm not.
I
sure.
don't think that could have happened.
Wow.
I think you record all your conversations.
That'd be brilliant. No, I was saying this before we started recording. I'm just going to repeat it now for the listeners at home.
Stuart Moses is a very, very creepy man who records all his conversations.
Well, I don't, but I would like to, because sometimes I'm like, I'm talking to someone I really like, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I'm really going to enjoy this conversation, and it'd just be nice to be able to listen to it again afterwards, which is kind of what I'm doing with this podcast. Also, sometimes we're talking in loud places, and I can't always hear what people are saying.
It's good to be able to go and review that.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, just nod along for now, and later on go, I agree to some terrible things.
Or I've started taking notes. When people recommend something to me, I will write it down, because otherwise I will just forget, and I go, they were... Or
they made some really important and useful points, but
if I can remember that much, I can sometimes remember what it was that they said. But sometimes I won't even remember that they made some really useful, exciting points. So yes, very much. If I'm taking notes, it means I'm, anyway. So you mentioned there was a group that didn't go anywhere?
Well, I mean, I think it seems that a lot of people that do a Hoopla course end up going, hey, we should all carry on doing this forever together.
I've done that as well.
Yeah, and one course that I did, some of us did that, and as we were saying earlier, there's a lot more admin that goes into being a team than people think.
Yes.
So, for example, because actually I remember when, on Brendan's episode of the podcast, he was talking about that, and I was like, this is really useful. I shall make everyone else in the group listen to this. I don't think any of them did. I forwarded them and go, everyone should, there's a lot of important information there about the admin.
This is exactly what I encourage listeners to do.
Yes.
Send these episodes to people in your group and hope they listen.
Improv's horrible. How much work there is.
Well, yeah, but I think people forget that because we think, we're spontaneous, we'll turn up, we'll do something. But
we're all creative.
We're all creative. But actually, you need to, organise that.
Yes. That's so it just, the organisation it just fell apart after about 2 or 3 weeks. But we tried.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I'm sort of thinking about this a lot, and how it's great when you've got you've done a course and then the group forms out of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't know how much do you need to be friends with the other people that you're in a group with.
I think it's important to actually like each other.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have that much experience with it, so who knows. But also, I feel like it's probably situations where groups get together and we feel obliged to be in a group with everyone now,
yes.
and maybe there's one person that we all hate. Not that anyone in Improv hates anyone else, because we're all lovely people and everyone's great.
Oh no,
I've got a list.
You've got a list as well. We should compare lists.
Yeah.
Probably off mic.
Okay, yeah.
There's no one I really... There's no one I really hate, but there are some people that I choose not to perform with.
That's reasonable.
Whereas you just really hate people.
I just hate people. All of them.
All of them? Well, that's fair enough.
That's why I have to do improv for being a different person. I don't know. That wasn't going anywhere.
No, I'm just going to sweep.
Yes. Good editing.
Yes. What is it? Oh, someone said something to me about how if you think it's time to sweep something, it was actually time to sweep it 8 seconds ago or something.
I've
like
heard that. Yeah,
it's like said that to me.
Yeah, it's like that's editing. That's another thing actually with like jam admin. Editing is so important.
Yes.
And it's something that a lot of us who are jam captains at Duck Duck Goose. I was about to say at the place that my job place. I've actually mentioned the law firm I work for. It's like, no, that's not relevant there. We have no jam captains. That's why it's such a terrible place to work. But yeah, that's one of the things that we try, like that we're not necessarily great at. All of us. I'm not saying. Thinking for myself, particularly, not necessarily great at editing when it's like I see the thing going, I could go now. And then if you don't do it at the right time, it's like, well, now I've got to wait. Otherwise, if I just edit now, it's maybe worse than if I wait for another joke.
Yes, and I've been getting into the tech side of things, so I've been editing using Light, and so I've sort of done more of that than the physical editing that you've done, and it's helped, made me a better improviser because I've thought more about edit points.
Yeah.
And I've realised I don't always edit on a laugh. Sometimes it'll just be a line. Yeah. That's kind of, doesn't necessarily get a laugh,
but it puts a button on something.
Yeah, it seems sort of meaningful or ominous, or it's John Agapew talking about killing puppies. And I'm like, sorry mate, blacked you out. Don't do that again.
He'll do it again anyway.
Yeah, and I'll black him out again.
John Agapew. Actually, yesterday, no, he didn't. No, Keith Mulder threatened to. No, he ate a baby. What am I talking about? He didn't eat a puppy at all. He fed a baby to a horse. I was delighted. It's now on my list of my 100 best Keith Mulder moments.
I would like to see the...
that's another list that I've been keeping.
That spreadsheet.
I'm a very creepy person. I have many lists.
It's good to keep a record of
I
things.
am, according to the rest of Duck Duck Goose, stalking a lot of people. I was like, no, it's a joke. I'm not really stalking the Just Us League. I just happen to be everywhere that they are.
They are very good, and they are very welcome to come on the podcast as well.
Well, at one point they were in Leicester, where I don't live, and I went to see them there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, my parents live there though.
Oh, right, so fair enough.
I took my dad along.
Did you? What did your dad think of? This is the question that the listeners are interested in. Yeah. What did Madeleine Hunter's dad, what did Mr. Hunter, I presume, think of to the Just Us League?
He said he enjoyed them. No,
brilliant,
yes.
excellent.
He laughed.
3 stars.
Yes. So I was like, they were doing a scripted show. Well, it was they're doing this hour-long thing for Edinburgh. That's they're doing all the Marvel movies.
Yes.
Condensed into an hour.
Yes.
In various different forms.
They could probably do with.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I enjoy
Films
that.
are too long.
But yeah, there's an hour of fighting that I could just cut that bit out. Yeah.
Well, Just Us League, they're doing this.
Nice.
Yeah. It was their first, so they were just sort of trying it out for the first time. And I have seen one Marvel movie.
Right.
So
which one did you see?
Avengers Assemble, is that one?
Yes. It's probably, yes, that is one. I was just thinking that's probably not the one that I would choose.
That's what someone else said when I told them this.
It's very good.
Like, that's not the one.
Yeah, it's very good, but it's kind of, Yeah.
So, at the beginning, they're like, well, if you haven't seen any Marvel movies, you're probably going to enjoy this. I'm like, oh, well, I'm here now.
Whereas, I'm interested in that. How much of the source material do you need to be familiar with to enjoy a show?
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Because I'm sure you're aware I'm doing a Doctor Who.
I am aware of this.
Improv with Bryn Salisbury.
I think I've seen it once, maybe a launch pad.
Yes, we've done a couple of launch pads.
Yeah.
And when we started, Bryn was very much trying to get me to stop doing deep cuts.
Ah.
So I sort of just did to amuse myself, and maybe if Chris Mead was in the audience,
he'd find them hilarious.
He'd find them hilarious.
That's the thing. It's like I mean, this is my opinion, but I think. You can have some of those as well. It's great. And then people who are familiar with source material will be very amused. As long as you You also have some of the ones that people just know, that everyone knows about, like Sonic Screwdriver. That's about all I can remember. And I actually watched a lot of Doctor Who as a child. I can name all of the Doctor Who's. I won't do that now, though, because that's a different list.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
So I think it's the specificity that a lot of people talk about that's really important.
That's important in improv, I've been told.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And so being very specific, and if that specific reference happens to be a particularly deep cut, then if someone understands that it's a reference from a particular episode.
Oh, I thought you were going to name an episode then.
No, I should have, shouldn't I? I just realised in my mind I was going, you're trying to illustrate things
just
about being
name one and then
specific.
just edit this.
Well, I'll name the War Games.
Oh.
If it's a reference from the War Games.
I don't know. Which Doctor was
Patrick
that?
Troughton II.
Oh, I was going to go with a fourth Doctor. I was going to say, was it Tom Baker?
Statistically, that's
because there's a lot more of him.
There's a lot more of him.
I once saw him give money to a homeless man in real life.
Oh, that's brilliant.
On Aldwych.
Oh, wow. That's really nice.
Yeah, and I once sold some baby clothes to Peter Davison.
Did you really?
Yes, when I worked in Baby Gap.
Wow.
When I was a student.
Excellent. No, I have no connection with any
I'm
of the
sorry.
Doctors. No, it's good. It's nice that you have those. It was nice that Tom Baker was giving money to homeless.
Yeah, I was very excited, and
Yes.
I can't remember. I think I didn't text my brother because I didn't have a mobile phone at that point. But my brother is a sci-fi geek, and when I next saw him, I was like, here's something that will impress you. I saw Tom Baker giving money to a homeless man.
Yes, a great shape of story.
Yeah, right.
So but I can't remember what it was. There was something. So this is me being really unspecific, which I apologise. But there was, I think it may have been Katie Schute's Quantum Leap show, where someone went along and had never seen Quantum Leap.
And were they not even familiar with the concept?
I don't think they were even familiar with the concept, so they'd really enjoyed it, and they'd built up an erroneous impression of what it was actually like. It was something like that. It was some genre show, and the illusion that they had created in their mind of the show that was being improvised was much greater than the original show. Though I am a big fan of Quantum Leap, so no disrespect to
Quantum Leap. That's one of the things that I feel like I should never watch now as an adult, because I remember it being good, but I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, this is terrible.
Well, I love science fiction and history. You put science fiction into history, and I love it. There's something about the historical setting and the historical things mixed with the sci-fi flavour. I learned a lot about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's true, you do learn a lot of actual history.
X-Men First Class. So, it's sad that that's how I have to learn about things. But
there are actually some things where I go, I remember this because it was in Quantum Leap, like history things.
Exactly, yeah.
I can't think of any specific ones now, though, which is something about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Yeah, that was definitely a thing. I feel I want to talk about the Evil Leaper.
I don't remember that.
I won't then.
Oh.
Let's talk about... I'll leave that. Let's talk about improv. So you're in a part of a group at the moment.
Yes.
That it's called 20% Less.
That is true. My lady team.
Your lady team.
Yes.
Tell me about your lady team.
We are, there were 4 of us. It began actually as only 2 people, not including me, Mariana and Lucy. I don't know if you know them. I can't remember what Lucy's last name is. But they were doing a sort of... It, in fact, I believe, grew out of a class at the Slapdash Festival last year, where they did a scene together and it was good. So then they decided to do that some more. And because they're both women, they decided to call it 20% Less. Because women, I think actually in this country it's not 20%, it's about 17% less that we earn than men. But I think in America it's 20% less, and it makes sense. So then they were doing that sort of for a few months, I guess. And I saw them a couple of times, and I'm friends with them. And they decided to expand it to be a bigger team and asked me to join. And now there's me and also some Kima, who I don't know if you know, but she's very funny. So yeah, we have formed this team. We've got a very good social media presence because Mariana is brilliant at admin.
Nice.
Yes.
Good.
So it's great. I don't have to do I haven't done very much admin here. I do loads with Dr. Goose because Mariana is amazing at admin and improv, but also admin.
And to be honest, lots of people are good at improv, but if you don't have someone that's good in admin, then you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, so that's good. So we are deliberately all women, though our shows are not all just about being women. And we're also like probably 50% a dance troupe as well as an improv team.
Wow.
Just because our coach, Shem Pennant of C3 something, for one of our first practices, rather than making us do a warm-up, just made us learn the Running Man from a YouTube video. So now we just begin our shows with that, doing the Running Man.
What's the Running Man?
It's I would show you, but it wouldn't show up on the thing. I'm not able to do it now. It's the 80s dance. It's this. I can't even do it now.
Oh, right.
I'm getting better.
Yeah, no, it's good.
We're going to learn some more dance moves.
I was getting confused with the Arnold Schwarzenegger science fiction movie.
Ah, I have not seen that.
That was more entertaining.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Less violence.
I mean, it was no... I can't think of any Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that I like. It wasn't Rocky, which is not him.
It was not Rocky, but...
No. But anyway, yeah,
yes.
So...
Google that, everybody else, or ask Madeleine Hunter to perform
demonstrate the Running
for
Man.
you.
Yes, it's better when there's four of us. It's much more energetic.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed it now.
But yeah, so we do that.
So you start your shows with that?
Yes.
Not the warm-up, the actual show?
No, we start our show by doing the Running Man. But we haven't actually done... I mean, based on our very good social media presence, you'd think we'd been around for quite a while. We've actually only done 2 shows, I think, so far.
Right, okay.
Although we are already also running a night.
Right, excellent.
As I was saying earlier, the C3 something second show on a Sunday, they have different people running it and different sort of concepts for it. And so I think 2 weeks ago we did one that was improv, sketch and stand-up, but all women. Obviously. Yeah. Even though, again, our shows aren't just about being women, but it is deliberate. So we had 2 improv teams, 1 sketch team, a character comedian and 2 stand-ups. And we're doing that again, I think, on the 11th of June.
And I believe there was a pun in the title of this.
There was a pun in the title, yes. It is called Word of Muff. But just to be clear, you don't have to have a vagina to perform. You have to be female identified. Just in case that wasn't clear by the fact that it is called Word of Muff, which, again, I think actually Shem may have come up with that, and he's a man. But so he's not allowed to admit that he came up with that, because it's a bit weirder then. We went through a series of suggested pun titles, all of them with vaginas in them.
Right.
You know.
Can you remember?
I think one of them was Badge of Honour, but I think Badge is a much more horrible word.
Yes.
There was some very amusing WhatsApp chats of just, here are words for vagina that I like, here are ones that I find a bit upsetting. This one's fun, let's call it the Lady Garden. But
this is exactly the kind of conversation I'm interested in, and not specifically about female genitals, although. But just kind of like, you know, because you put on a night and it sort of appears fully formed.
Yeah.
But actually, there's a lot of work that goes into
it. But
also,
I find like the WhatsApp of Duck Duck Goose as well. On continual WhatsApp chat we have, part of which is admin, part of which is just banter, is actually very good for just making you better at comedy.
Really?
Hopefully. Just because there's a lot of because everyone's funny, so it's like there's a lot of competition to keep up. Just in your WhatsApp chats that no one else is going to see.
Yeah.
Because like the Duck Duck Goose one is very active and sometimes very amusing.
Right, okay, cool.
But yeah, that was me while I was sitting on a bus just kind of like texting and going, here are a list of words for vagina, here are vagina puns. Like, my life is stupid.
So, it might be hard to remember, but what were the ones that were the good words?
The good words,
yes.
puns. Personally for me, a cunt's a great word. I know it's the worst word, but it's great. Like Lady Garden, I think is hilarious. Vulva and labia, which
medical, but fair enough.
Vagina, obviously. The ones I don't like include vag, minge, gash.
Oh, yes.
They're all a bit.
Yeah, gash has the connotations of violence. And
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones now. There's loads of others, but yeah.
So once you've done your running, and it's a Running Man.
Yeah,
that's interesting. You do a Running Man intro.
Yeah.
You want to think about that? Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to bring this to the group now.
Yeah. Get on WhatsApp.
Yes.
So once you've done your running person.
Yes, running person. Yeah.
intro, what
we're a long form team. We're at the moment. Well, again, we've only done 2 shows, but at the moment we are doing A Pretty Flower, which is
sounds also like
again, yes. So I think at some point in one of our rehearsals, someone said something about nailing the pretty flower. It was like, well, that's going to mean 10 minutes of me just sitting here laughing now. Because I do love a good vagina pun. I'm afraid I have broken Stuart Moses.
Well, it was going to happen. And what a pleasant way to be broken. How does the pretty flower work? Tell me how the pretty flower works.
Well, I feel like your parents should have told you this, but okay.
No, I don't want to hear from them.
No, that's true. No, so it's a long form where you begin with a sort of base group scene that is, if you like, the centre of the flower, and that's sort of like it's in a sort of set location, and then you're all in that with your various things. And if at any point you sort of see something that you feel like I could expand on this, or I could take this character and see them in a different context, you then sort of do a cutaway to a different scene, which is a petal of the flower. So it's like you've got, and then you can continue to return continually to sort of your base scene.
So how do you cut away?
You can, this is something we are not great at yet, but there's sort of a thing of just sort of pulling someone out, so it's clear that that's the character you're taking out, but there's the power corners. Power corners. Basically the front 2 corners of the stage.
They're the power corners.
Yeah, so you sort of pull away to there, so you can see that it's different from the centre of the stage where your sort of main scene hopefully is.
Right.
And then obviously the cutting back is harder, because then it's like you've got to make it clear without saying so that we are now back in that previous scene and we're all here again and we're all the characters we were then.
Yes.
So yeah, we're certainly the after our last show, that was the main note that we got, was make the edits more obvious, so that you can actually so it's very clear when you're your character from the main scene and when you're someone else with one of those characters and when you're back in the main scene.
Yeah. So that does sound.
Yes, you can like tag someone out and sort of pull them to a different bit of the stage, and then everyone else knows to leave.
Right, okay. So I wondered if the people from the main scene remained on the stage kind of frozen or something like that.
No, although that would be terrible. That's an interesting idea, Stuart Moses.
That would be terrible. That's fine. And if there's the main scene going on, which is the centre of the flower, which I feel has some technical...
It probably does, and I probably should know what it is, because I did a slightly biology-based degree.
So the centre of the flower, the face? Not face, is it?
I think it's
face
called
of the flower.
Let's call it the face. No one else knows.
So you've got that main scene going on there, and so if you pulled somebody out of that main scene to go to one of the power corners...
To a petal?
To a petal?
Yes.
Would the person that's been pulled out... still play the character that they had played when they were in...
Yes, right, okay. Usually. I mean, you could also, if you just an idea, something that happens that you think, that's an interesting thing I could expand, you can also do that. But also, I guess that's even harder to be like, no, we're different people now. But
right.
So yeah, part of what we we need to work on as a team is the editing.
Yes.
But yeah, that was like the main note that Shem gave us after our last performance, was like just make the edit stronger.
Yeah.
Other than that, he was very pleased with us.
I'm sure he was.
Yes.
I'm sure he was. Brilliant! That sounds a really interesting format. I've not seen that.
Yeah. I did a class on it here at the Slapdash last year.
Right.
It was taught by, I think it was Todd Faison from
right,
UCB.
cool.
And I was like, this is really hard, and you have to be really good at group scenes. Because obviously at the beginning, it's sort of everyone is in the scene, and it's like everyone's got to sort of have their thing.
Yes.
I guess that's another thing is that important in the very beginning is giving gifts to each other of like, you are this is what you do. So you've got a clear point of view.
Yes. Yes.
Although last time we did it, I ended up being a cat person.
Oh, cat person.
Yeah.
Not actually a cat.
Well, I think Lucy realised that I hadn't been given anything yet, and then she's like, and I looked at you, and all I could think of was you're always talking about your cat in real life, and you've got an amazing cat. And I was like, and I just feel like without that I have no other personality outside of my cat. I believe that's called the thin veil.
Well, it's nice though when somebody knows you well enough to go, here's someone that has a cat.
I talk about cats continually.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Would you want to see some pictures of my cat?
Yes.
No. Want to see them now?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
so pretty.
Because, I don't know. I think cats are essentially evil.
No. Well, I mean, they are, but that's part of why they're amazing.
Oh, right, I see. Fair enough.
And they're just amazing for so many reasons. There she is looking grumpy.
Wow.
On the back
that
of my
is an extreme
phone.
close-up. That's
Yeah,
quite amazing.
I'll get some more. Oh, there's my cat again. That's her. Good
That's a very cute cat.
Yeah. I'm going to keep showing you pictures of my cat until you change the subject.
Okay. I'm going to change the subject now.
Okay, fine. I'll put her away. She is very attractive. Please come and ask me about the cat.
Right. Okay. The big final question. The big exciting final question.
Okay.
What would you say your signature move is? What would you do on stage and people go, classic Madeleine Hunter?
I think it's either being very, very creepy. No, it's definitely being very, very creepy. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. In various ways. In fact, this was noted recently.
Detail all the ways.
Yes. So, well, certainly at a jam recently, at Duck Duck Goose recently, there was someone who, it was his first time jamming. He was doing a hoopla course, I think with Chris Mead. Chris Mead had suggested he came to Duck Duck Goose. A group of them came. It was his first ever jam. He came out, and so we put everyone's name in a bucket. We pulled them out two at a time. He got me. That's been nice for him. I can't remember what the initiation was, but it basically ended up with me being very creepy and kneeling on a stool while he was standing, so I was taller than him, and just stroking his face slowly while I said nice things at him. And afterwards it was like, yeah, for your first time, that might be a bit intimidating.
Well, I mean, I think if it was a first, date or something like that, I don't know. But at least you're on stage, so it's make-believe.
Yeah.
Mainly make-believe.
But that's
a bit make-believe.
It's
thin veil.
Again, the thin veil. That's the thing we're all meant to do. That I've heard of. Yeah, because I think Brendan was like, yeah, that was just a classic Maddie. Yeah. I do a lot of that, of just like really adoring people.
Oh, right.
Very close.
That's nice.
Sometimes. There was recently a picture, I think it's moved now because that event's happened, but on the Duck Duck Goose Facebook page, not Facebook page, website, where we, one of the pictures on it was me stroking someone from this, I would show you, but it was, so I was standing on his left shoulder, my hand on the right side of his face, and I look very creepy and he looks terrified. But he was just acting, because he's the person that I know.
Exactly, it's just acting.
It was fine.
It's just acting. He was just acting scared.
Yeah. It was a good picture. I looked terrifying in it. Yes, I'm just going to touch you. I can't remember what the scene was about. Probably about me being creepy. That is definitely my signature move. Which is better than my other one, which is just arguing, which is bad improv. No, not always, but I do have an annoying tendency to, if I don't know what to do at the beginning of a scene, I will just argue with whatever you've said.
Really?
And I'm aware that is not good.
It depends how it's done.
Yeah, I think it can be done well. Not by me usually, but it can be done well.
I mean, I think people in real life have arguments, and
That's
so
true.
As long as you're not denying the reality of the situation, and even then people do that in real life, don't they? So,
Yeah, okay, that isn't true. I didn't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
but it doesn't necessarily make for a compelling scene to see me yell at someone.
No, well, I like the way you've got the two defaults. You're either stroking them or yelling.
Yeah, it's either the extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good choices.
It's
Good choices.
extreme love. Because everything's cyclical. Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Stuart Moses.
Thank you very much, Madeleine Hunter.
I made this.
That's improv!